in Maryland with a church. All people do this damn mother, and the heels, rotten, decrepit, low down, despicable, foul-mouthed monster. I realize that monsters like this do not have a place in heaven. And I also realize that hell simply will not have them because they don't put a motherfucker like this trying to take over. Pardon the language. They must be sick.
It's another beautiful day to be a Raider, draped in the silver and black. I represent the shield. I represent the swords. It's that time of night again, Raider Nation. And you come back. Why? Because it's time. It's time to bring them.
What's up, Raider Nation? I am the Commish, coming to you live, as always, from Hardcore Challenge Live Studios. Deep behind the enemy line, this is Raider Reaction, and as it is every Friday on Raider Reaction, it's Black Friday. And on Black Friday, that means another edition of the Silver and Black Theater, as we dust off another classic from the Raider archives, as we have, of course, as we do every Friday, in season, a classic from this week's opponent. And let's get right to it.
Temperature at 85 degrees and Riverfront Stadium is sold out. A crowd of better than 55,000 on hand for opening day, and we are delighted.
Opening day 1993.
Along with John Brody and John Tufton.
Raiders at Bengals.
Both playoff teams from a year ago. Both had a miserable preseason. Cincinnati 0-4, the Raiders 1-3, and as we discussed earlier on NFL 83, the key to this game may well take place down in the pit, with Anthony Munoz going up against Lyle Alzado.
I think simply, Marv, you can file the preseason. They know exactly what's in store for each team. The Raiders are an intimidating team. The Cincinnati Bengals are an excellent team, and I think you're going to see one of these two teams probably emerge as the tops in the AFL at the end of the year.
However, there are many questions concerning the Bengals of Cincinnati. Pete Johnson, Ross Browner, each suspended first 4 games because of drug involvement, and wide receiver Chris Collingsworth and tight end Dan Ross each signed future contracts with the USFL. How will this affect the Bengals?
Well, I think that it was such a good draft, Marv, this year, that they were fortunate when they did have the unfortunate things happen to them that they did have. They could fill in. They've got 10 rookies on this club. 6 of them are starting. That's a very rare situation for a contending team, and Cincinnati certainly has to be one of the top teams in this game. Forrest Gregg said we've had some mesh problems. On the other side of the field, Tom Flores says, hey, our quarterback hasn't been playing the way we'd like to see him play, but he's done so much for us. There's no way I'm changing. I expect a good season out of Jim Plunkett the way he's given us two in a row. And I'm looking forward to the ball game, and you can hear the 53,000 fans feel the same way.
And the kickoff by Jim Breach. This is Greg Pruitt. Pruitt across the 15 and hammered down. LA Raiders winning the toss and elected to receive. The return by Pruitt. Stopped by backup quarterback John Simmons. Jim Plunkett at quarterback, along with Marcus Allen and Kenny King in that Raider backfield. Cliff Branch, Malcolm Barnwell, and the excellent tight end Todd Christensen. And that the Raider offensive line, Charlie Hanna replacing the injured Kurt Marsh. So the Raiders now, first down at the 16-yard line. Allen and King are the running backs. We're just underway at Riverfront. And Plunkett to put it up. Intended for Marcus Allen. Both Branch and Allen were downfield. It'll be a 2nd and 10. Reggie Williams covering on the play. And a look at the defensive unit of the Cincinnati Bengals. Glenn Collins replacing Ross Browner, who has been suspended the first 4 games. Frazier, LeClaire, Cameron, and Williams, the linebackers. And in the secondary, excellent cornermen in Ken Riley and Lewis Brayton. 2nd and 10 from the 16. And this is Allen. And a penalty marker down. Jim LeClaire making the stop.
Marv, we ought to keep in mind the fact that this was the only team that held Marcus Allen in tow last year, and they seem to be starting off the same way. Their viewpoint is if we can hold Marcus Allen at the line of scrimmage, we can beat the Raiders, and that truly is the story.
And the holding call on the Raiders indicated by the referee, Ben Bright, who I'm told has been handpicked for this assignment, John, because he's the guy who takes charge, and they wanted to make sure there's no funny stuff.
84, decline the penalty. It's 3rd down.
If he doesn't take charge, one of those two teams will. And you have to have an official in charge when Cincinnati and the Raiders play one another, and he is a man that will take it. He doesn't particularly care who he calls a penalty on, but he's not going to let it get out of hand.
Derek Ramsey was singled out for the call. It was declined. It's a 3rd down and 8 at the 18. And here's Plunkett looking for Branch. So the Raiders will be forced to give up the football. Cliff Branch, the intended receiver, covered by the right quarterback Ken Riley and the strong safety Bobby Camp.
I think we've got a little drive-saving penalty there.
So Ben Bright again with the indication and a first down for the Raiders.
Personal foul, roughing the quarterback, defense, number 57. That's a 1st down.
Well, it's Reggie Williams, the outside linebacker, called for the roughing of Jim Plunkett, and they're calling him close right at the start.
Well, if Ben's there and these two teams are playing, you know something's going to happen early.
Branch is left, and Barnwell right, out of the eye. That's King in front of Allen. And here's Plunkett with time. Malcolm Barnwell not able to hang on. It'll be a 2nd down and 10 at the 33. Barnwell covered by Kemp and Jackson. Are the Raiders a dirty club? How's that for a direct question?
They're an intimidating team, and if they get the upper hand on you, I'm sure that they get people concerned with something other than the game itself. But no, they're not a dirty football team. They're a very good one, and all top teams are tough, and that's what they are.
Actually, the reputation of being dirty can be helpful because people react to that.
You're right.
2nd down and 10 for the Los Angeles Raiders. No score. 38-yard line. He picked up 5. And some late hitting in there. This was expected.
Late and early. We're taking a look at the way Cincinnati's trying to stop Marcus Allen. They're using all 7 linemen in games. You see Reggie Williams, a linebacker. He'll be at the line of scrimmage quite a bit of the afternoon. Cameron also from the middle. It's like a 7-man front, Marvin. If they're running the ball, that's what they face.
You think Price had some words before the game with the more aggressive players, try to calm things down?
No, but I do think he knows who they are, and they're going to find out early.
Well, Marcus Allen well ahead of his pace of a game a year ago here in Cincinnati. As he picked up 5, it's a 3rd and 5 at the 38. Plunkett dumps it off. The tight end, Todd Christensen, for the first down and some more. Bobby Kemp, number 26, the strong safety on the tackle.
We hear so much about zone defense, Marv. This time it was a man-to-man defense. Each receiver with 1 defender. The tight end in a crossing route to the left side of your screen. See, right underneath the 2 wide receivers comes Todd Christensen. It's too tough for Kemp to cover him one-on-one. Well-conceived pattern. First down.
Todd Christensen caught 42 passes last year and emerged as a clutch 3rd down performer. 5th year out of Brigham Young. First down now at midfield. Here's Allen. Trying to pick his way. Gets to the Cincinnati 49. Guy Frazier, outside linebacker on the stop, but you see the flag.
They're still not doing an awful lot running the football. Very few people do against Cincinnati. This drive's been kept alive by penalties and 1 good pass play. Now they're being tested. They're going to have 2nd down or 1st down and 20 yards to go. That's no situation for any quarterback.
A holding call against the Raiders. In last year's game,
Holding offense number 84.
Eric Ramsey, the tight end, again called for the hold. Last year, the Bengals won here in November by the score of 31-17, and tempers flared frequently. Raiders penalized for 80 yards, the Bengals for some 60 yards. At times, it did look like a street fight.
And they may beat that by the first quarter.
3.5 minutes gone by in the first quarter. Look out, Plunkett getting it away. Flag thrown. Guy Frazier all over him, but they call it a sack.
That penalty was thrown before the ball left Plunkett's hands. Jim Plunkett not able to find the receiver. Pretty good pass rush. Comes from the outside. When you get a free safety right in the middle of your situation, you're in trouble. This is Guy Frazier, who's one of the new players. As a linebacker, very mobile. 3rd-year player from Wyoming, but his 1st year in the starting lineup. And that's one of the problems that Forrest Gregg said he had with this club. He's got Boyarski at nose tackle, Frazier sitting out there as a linebacker, and he's got a few other substitutions, and he's just got to deal with it.
Offensive holding 79. Decline the penalty. 2nd down right here.
It's the left tackle, Bruce Davis. The man who took over for Art Shell, number 79. Bruce Davis out of UCLA. Called for the hold. It is declined. It's a 2nd down and 28. Back at the 31. Raiders have had possession first 3 minutes of this first quarter. Clay Montgomery, nowhere. Jim LeClaire, inside linebacker, making the stop.
That's kind of a give-up play. You're not going to catch anybody in hot pursuit of your end around when you've got 30 yards to go for a 1st down, but they really didn't know what to do. There's not a good play when you've got 1st down and 30 yards to go. 2nd and 30 is worse, and 3rd and 30 is almost no case.
And there's Ken Anderson getting ready yet to play in this first quarter. Green Bay in front of Houston in the first quarter, 7-0. 3rd down and 23 for Jim Plunkett. Running backs are Allen and King. Plunkett stepping up to fire. Barnwell, 1st down and more, inside the 40-yard line. Malcolm Barnwell, a Raider deep threat, has outstanding speed in his third season out of Virginia Union.
Once you give a quarterback as much time as Jim Plunkett got to throw this ball and allow Markham Barnwell to get 30 yards down the field, it's really no problem to find yourself a hole in between defenders. That's what he does, 30 yards down the field. Credit the offensive line with giving him time.
25-yard pickup, first down, marked at the 38. Now Branch split wide right side. And again out of the eye. This is King. Nothing. King, who was moved to fullback, what with the emergence of the rookie last year, Marcus Allen. This after King was all-pro 2 years ago as a running back.
Right.
This been a guy's been moved around. Earl Campbell moving him out of Houston.
He's a very flexible player, and it's very important in this day and age with guys playing halfback, tight end, fullback, wide receiver, guards, tackles, that you can play as many positions as he can.
Picked up one, second down and 9. Raiders sustaining the drive. They're at the Cincinnati 37. And here's Allen with a hold, but tripped up. Defensively last season, Cincinnati tough against the run and very weak against the pass. Marcus Allen, who was blight last November here in Cincinnati, nevertheless finished as the number 4 man in rushing in the AFC. That time picked up 6. Third down and 3. At the Cincinnati 31. And the crowd urging on the defense. A timeout has been called by the Los Angeles Raiders. 15 seconds in, first quarter at Riverfront, and we are scoreless. And they'll take a look at it. He'll sit it out for a while, replaced by Steve Sylvester at right guard.
Steve Sylvester has been the backup, both guards, center for 9 years. He has started quite a few games for him, but he is such a valuable player, and he's a great need right now. They cannot afford to lose any offensive linemen, as we see Minnesota taking a 7-0 lead early in the first.
Third down 3, and Marcus Allen appears to have been stopped. Check that Kenny King stopped by Bobby Kemp and Glenn Collins. Kenny King in his 5th year out of Oklahoma.
You know, if I'm Kenny King, I love having Marcus Allen in my backfield because that man can block. He makes a good block at the point of attack. King picks up the 4 yards, but it doesn't look like it's enough for the first down. They're going for it, but they've got about a foot to go.
So the 4th down play for the Raiders, led up to the line by center Dave Dalby, and they're packed in. Allen has picked up the first down. Allen averaged 5 per carry in preseason. In fact, in the final preseason game against the Cleveland Browns last Friday, 8 carries, 53 yards, and a cameo role. So Marcus is ready.
Marv, this is what the Raiders love to do. They're big, they're bulky. Ask them to move, get movement on the line of scrimmage. They'll do it for you. This time they put all the defensive people on the other side of the line. Marcus Allen had very little to pick up the first down.
And it's a first down at the Cincinnati 24. That's the tight end, Christensen, putting a move on. And he was bumped out of bounds at the 5 by the free safety, Robert Jackson.
Todd's a little concerned, but he thought he should have made a better play and scored. He just had Robert Jackson on the same crossing pattern that they picked up a first down earlier in the drive. He's got Robert Jackson outweighed by 30 pounds. The sideline got him more than Robert.
They may look to pick on Jackson. He's a free safety replacing the injured Brian Hicks.
You got to try him. You don't know what you're going to get, but you've got to try a new man.
18-yard advance. It's a first and goal at the 5. Allen and King, the running backs. Eddie King. So the the Raiders with this long drive through the first 7 minutes of the first quarter. Bengals yet to see the football.
And that's so important for their defense on the field in 85-degree weather when it's about, it feels like it's 80% humidity. It really helps to get the rest.
And temperature will hit the 90s later on today. It is a 2nd and goal down at the 1. That's King in front of Allen. And here's Allen. The Raiders put down 6. Marcus Allen with his first touchdown of the season.
It's also a good start for Plunkett, Marv, because he had anything but an outstanding preseason, and coaches may say anything and they may give you the vote of confidence, but until you do some producing out there on the field of play, they've got another eye open, and that'll help Jim.
He was 43% during preseason, intercepted 4 times. He had a rough time as the Raiders went 1 up and 3 down. Here's Chris Barr with Mark Wilson, the backup quarterback, holding. So the Los Angeles Raiders take a 7-0 lead on the Cincinnati Bengals with 7.5 remaining in this first quarter here at Riverfront. St. Louis leading New Orleans 7-0 in the first quarter. Green Bay now over Houston 7-3 in the first. And it's Baltimore 3, New England 0 in the first quarter. All right, Chris Barr and Stanley Wilson on the return. Wilson able to break tackles. Gets by Barr. Caught from behind near the 35. A 32-yard kickoff return by the rookie out of Oklahoma, Stanley Wilson.
He wasted no time showing the Raiders that this man came to play. He's an outstanding college talent, but it's funny when you have a great running back from Oklahoma or Nebraska, people always wonder if it's the offensive line or is it the individual himself. The people in Cincinnati feel Stanley, this man had some kind of preseason. He picked up right where he left off.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Bengals at their 32. The Raiders leading it 7-0. This is Charles Alexander. Could not make the turn on the strong safety. Mike Davis checking out that Bengal offensive unit. Ken Anderson at quarterback. Rodney Tate replacing the injured Archie Griffin. Outstanding crew of receivers. Collingsworth, Curtis, and Ross. And the offensive line anchored by the rookie from Nebraska, number 1 draft pick, Dave Remington, plus the outstanding number 78, Anthony Munoz. It'll be a 2nd down and 7 at the 35, just under 7 minutes remaining in this first quarter. We'll be right back. Tough final preseason game. This after it was announced that he'd be the number 1 quarterback.
Well, you bet when Pittsburgh looked at those films, they found a few vulnerabilities and they exposed them early.
2nd down and 7 at the 35-yard line. You saw the strong safety Mike Davis go to the sideline a moment ago. Here's Anderson on the run. Nice catch by the tight end and Ross for a 1st down.
Hey, that means you really know how to throw the ball. When you come out, nobody's around you, but it's just a little bit easier. Lay it over to Ross, let him pick up the first.
And he picked up 12 yards on the play. Stopped by Kenny Hill, the 3-year man out of Yale, just came in at strong safety. As you look at the defensive unit of the L.A. Raiders, Ted Hendricks in his 15th year out of Miami. Rod Martin on the right side, also outstanding. And now Mike Davis replaced by Kenny Hill, who just came on. 1st down for Cincinnati in their very first possession of the game. 1st down at the 47. Here's Alexander. Charles Alexander, 5th-year pro out of LSU, stopped by McElroy and Hill.
And if you'll note, we mentioned Lyle Alzado and Anthony Munoz at the top of the show. That time I just had to take a look. You notice they're having words early. Now, Lyle's got to find a way that he can beat Anthony, and I tell you, it's going to be awful tough to do with his physical ability. He's going to have to do it by convincing him he shouldn't be so tough on him. And you can see there they had a few words.
Well, Munoz only 6'6", what, 278? Quick. 2nd and 4, and Alexander trying to squirm for the first down. He's near the marker. And Bob Nelson, number 51, the inside linebacker, made the tackle.
All right, we're going to take one more look just to see if we can't pick up exactly what they're saying to one another. But Anthony Munoz, you can see, he gets in good position all the time. Lyle threw him on the pile, but not before he gained 4.
I don't think we do want to read lips in that situation. All right, the Bengals now with a single deep back as Tate has departed. Alexander in the backfield for this 3rd down and 1. And it's Alexander. Bob Nelson, number 51 again there for the tackle. Very close to the first down marker. Raiders in front by the score of 7-0. A long drive. It consumes 7.5 minutes. 15 plays, 84 yards, capped off by the 1-yard plunge by Marcus Allen, the man who led the National Football League in touchdowns last season with 14.
It looks very much like he's got the first down. I think this is just a formality. Defensive play by the Raiders in a 3rd and 1 situation. So often goes where the referee marks it. That time it favored Cincinnati, and they've got 1st and 10.
And on the sidelines, one time, Raider Jim Breach warming up just in case. 1st down and 10 for the Bengals at the Raider 43-yard line. 4.5 left, 1st quarter. Here's Anderson. The tight end split the 2 defenders.
You get the feeling that Anderson knows that Ross may be gone at the end of this year. He wants to use him as much as he can before he leaves. And I don't blame him. This man is some kind of tight end. He's one of those fellas that learned the game completely in about 4 or 5 years. Then he got his chance to play. Since he's been in the lineup, he's catching a consistent 75 balls a year.
He signed a future contract with Boston of the USFL starting next season. Rams in front of the Giants. 3-zip. Atlanta 6, Chicago nothing in the 1st quarter. 14-yard pass play, setting a 1st down at the 29 of the Raiders. Here's Alexander. Charles Alexander with some heavy running on the reception, getting to the 23-yard line. Rod Martin banging him out of bounds.
You know, we talked a little bit about Dave Remington at the start of the show, and you notice he's sitting in the middle, number 64. We mentioned how strong he is. Reggie Kinlaw is a man right on his nose. Has very little success trying to get by.
With all the notoriety, there have been questions about Remington, primarily because of a knee injury suffered during his collegiate career. We'll get back to that. It's a 2nd down and 4 at the 23. This is Tate. Right at the 1st down marker and has picked it up. Rodney Tate in his 2nd season out of Texas, a 4th-round draft pick a year ago. Stopped by outside linebacker Rod Martin.
I think the doubts that anybody had about Dave Remington, Marv, is simply that is he going to be that much better than Blair Bush was? Because the kid from Washington was a great center at Cincinnati, and they had an outstanding offensive team. But Bruce Coslet says he expects Remington to be that much better. He expects him to be the best center in the league in a very short period of time. So he has no doubt.
1st down at the Raider 18. The Bengals with a good mark, trailing 7-0. That'll be rolled incomplete. A hard hit for 2 on Chris Collingsworth.
You know, talking to Dick LeBeau, who is the defensive back coach for the Bengals, he said, you know, it used to be it was tough to get a guy to run in the middle of the field. But he said anymore when you run in the middle, the defensive backs have to leave him alone. The only time you get a chance to converge on him is when the ball's in the air coming to him. You can see right then all 3 of the Raiders met him just as the ball did. and you still take your lumps coming inside.
Steve Kreider has come out as the extra receiver. Rodney Tate lifted for the 2nd down and 10 at the Los Angeles 18. Just under 3 left, first quarter. Look out. Anderson able to throw. Anderson completing to Kreider. But Otis McKinney, the nickelback, was right there.
There aren't 3 quarterbacks in the game that would have tried that pass, Marv. He is so good at, from the time he decides to get the ball gone to getting it out of his hand. It's so fast. That time he knew he was trapped. The last second he saw Kreider put the ball to him almost immediately, and that's just a play you can't teach. Great athletic ability. Maybe that's why he's a great quarterback.
Top rated in the NFL last season. Picked up 4, 3rd down and 6. Down at the 14. 2 minutes left, first quarter. Raiders lead 7-0. That's Kreider in motion and fell down. And picked off by the Raiders. Matt Millen, the inside linebacker, on the interception. So the Raiders take over, stopping the Cincinnati drive, and the Bengals were on the move.
Matt Millen isn't known for his interceptions. He's generally in there only on running situations. I don't think that Anderson even saw Matt. He's rather short, but he came up with the ball, forced the turnover, and the Raiders were on the move.
Last season, the Los Angeles Raiders were the best record of the AFC at 8-1, but lost to the Jets in the playoffs, trimming it from the record of 7-9 back in 1981. And here's Plunkett. Again, the tight end, Christensen, out to the 30, so picks up 7 on the play. Jim LeClaire, the inside linebacker, making the stop. Houston has just moved in front of Green Bay, 10-7. Archie Manning connecting to Tim Smith, 47-yard pass play, and a Detroit safety, putting the Lions in front of Tampa Bay.
Tampa had a great preseason.
And despite the question as to who would be number 1 at quarterback, with former Bengal Jack Thompson battling with Jerry Golston. That's Kenny King collecting the first down. Glenn Cameron, number 50, on the cover-up of King. So the Raiders first down at their 35-yard line. They've taken over off the interception by linebacker Matt Millen. 55 seconds remaining first quarter. Raiders 7 and the Bengals nothing. That's the story last November for the Raiders' only loss of the season, and it was convincing. Short setup, and the sideline pass works. Malcolm Barnwell, who caught a 25-yard flip earlier this first quarter, stopped by Lewis Breeden. So that quarterback, that's Breeden, 6th year, North Carolina Central.
And that is not the personality of the Raiders. They are a very greedy team offensively. They love to go down the field in one play. They like to extend the perimeters of the defense so that they can then attack the middle. But I noticed that Breeden's playing off. Barnwell playing off Branch, whoever's out there, and they're trying to pull him up a little so they can go deep.
Jim Plunkett, the only quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy, the Rose Bowl, and the Super Bowl. Not bad. And that is the end of the first quarter. Raiders lead it 7-0. Harv Albert, John Brody from Riverfront in Cincinnati. First quarter is in the books. And the Raiders, who consumed most of the time of possession in that first quarter, leading it by the count of 7-0. Raiders now 2nd down and 4 at their 41. Marcus Allen has stopped.
Barb, you know, they've got a couple rookies that are playing for Cincinnati, and one of them is this kid Crumry, he comes from a little school in Madison, Wisconsin. He's a rookie, but look at how strong he is. And Kosler mentioned, hey, when you see him, just watch him for a couple of plays. Now, he's playing against Dave Dalby, who's noted as a very sound center, and Dalby is being given all he can handle.
Tim Crumry, 10th round draft pick a year ago. Cincinnati Bengals, one of the top clubs in the NFL last season against the rush, as Marcus Allen can attest to. And it's had a tough time here thus far, but we're very early. It's a 3rd down and 3. And Plunkett, again with the short pass, but he's got the first down. Jim LeClaire stopping the receiver, Marcus Allen.
Marcus Allen is such an outstanding runner, but I think what makes him such a great all-around fullback is his ability to catch the ball. He picks up first downs time and again for the Raiders, keeping drives alive with his pass catching, and he adds a dimension that the Raiders really haven't had in the past 4 or 5 years outside of him.
And it's a first down at the 46-yard line. We're just underway, second quarter. That's Branch in motion. And this is out. Tripped up. Allen tripped up by the strong safety, Bobby Kemp.
And this is not up to his standards, because when he's given this much room to run, generally you'll see him about 30, 40 yards down the field. Very good blocks at the point of attack. Kemp finally makes the play after about a 6-yard gain, but Allen actually tripped himself.
Well, not a sensational start for the rookie quarterback for the Denver Broncos, John Elway. We're told one completion, and he has been intercepted one time.
This is not a picnic up here.
Second down and 3. Kenny King slashing his way to the first down. So first down for the Raiders. Now for an update, let's go back to NFL 83. Irvin first down for the Los Angeles Raiders at the Cincinnati 39. Again, the Raiders on the move. They lead it by the score of 7-0. That's Barnwell in motion. And here's Allen looking to throw. The Branch overthrow.
He wanted to go to Todd Christensen. There was nobody open, and because he is a very aware sort of athlete, rather than force the ball into Christensen, he chose to throw it over the secondary. You can see this is an outlet coming through the middle of the field. Marcus saw Christensen covered, put the ball right over the defense. That's a good play. If it's not there, file it.
So a 2nd and 10 at the 39-yard line. 3 minutes gone by, second quarter. Marv Albert with John Brody from Riverfront in Cincinnati. Greg Pruitt, who just checked in, the 11-year man out of Oklahoma, stopped by Jim LeClaire, and a good pickup by Pruitt.
And that's under very difficult situations. This is a safety blitz. They're all coming up. You see number 37, Robert Jackson. He's going right through, runs right into the play. Pruitt, being a wise old codger, sidestepped it and picked up considerable. About 7.
And the Raiders now have Pruitt and Hawkins. Frank Hawkins in the backfield. It's a 3rd down and 3. Here's Pruitt again, going outside. Pruitt has the first down and more. And a flag thrown in the Raider backfield. Pruitt run out by the free safety, Robert Jackson. A 17-yard advance if it holds.
Very interested in what that was, because that flag was thrown pretty late, Marv, and you don't usually see it thrown in that area that late.
And we'll get the answer now from the referee, Ben Bright. Well, the face mask against the Bengals.
Real good offensive line play by the Raiders so far during the ball game. They have won at the point of attack, and when you get this kind of movement.
Number 49, 5-yard penalty.
Guy Frazier, number 49, called for the face mask.
And it's pretty easy to run when you get that kind of movement offensively, Mark.
And it sets up a 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. Tom Flores with his club in front, 7-0, and looking very sharp offensively in the first half. Bucket was going to dump and gets it down to the 6. He had Marcus Allen with him.
But, you know, he's the most effective, bad-looking runner that I think has ever played this game. You can see how You can see how small his shoulder pads are, and that's why the quarterbacks never take on these linebackers. He wants to go to Christensen at the goal line, but it's very congested in there. Christensen thinks he's open, but Plunkett can't find the hole.
Picked up about 3. It's a 2nd and goal at the 6. Allen is the lone deep back that's branched to the left. Of Miami, who led the Bengals in sacks last year.
Well, Eddie Edwards is a top defensive lineman. He makes an excellent play on Henry Lawrence because after he gets down on the ground, he's still quick enough to get up to his feet, actually fools Kenny King, gets to Plunkett before he can find a receiver.
And the Bengals continue to shuffle between the 4-3 and 3-4. Raiders down. 3rd and goal back at the 15.
You can bet they'll try to get to Christensen if at all possible.
And Plunkett wants to talk it over. Saw the timeout called, and Jim Plunkett heads to the sideline. We'll be right back. Back in Riverfront, Raiders up to the line with a 3rd and goal. The 15, they lead the Bengals 7-0. Here's Plunkett throwing to the end zone. No question about it.
You wonder what a guy's thinking when he does something like that. Lewis Braden is respected as being one of the best quarterbacks in the game, and he's got Malcolm Barnwell in a one-on-one situation. He's using the sideline to his benefit. You know, I guess they had some words, but the surprising thing is that a guy of the quality of Braden would just commit a very obvious interference.
On the other hand, he saved a touchdown.
Well, maybe. The guy has to catch it, you know. Well, he could have been in a better position to make the play, so, you know, they've got a first down on the 1. I don't think he saved one personally.
For the moment.
Yeah, he put one off a bit.
Defense, pass interference, number 34. First down on a 1-yard line.
So a 1st and goal for the Raiders at the 1. This the first part of an NFL doubleheader here on NBC. We suggest you check the local listings for the game in your area.
You may be right.
Well, the Bengals with a good hit led by Bobby Kemp and Jeff Shue. As Marcus Allen was turned back, and the ball is back at the 1. What a pop. We'll get another look at it.
Well, you take number 59, Jeff Shue, another relative newcomer, 3rd-year player out of Minnesota. I mean, those fellas are, they're not buying it.
Again, it's Allen, this time able to walk his way in. Big hole left side, and Marcus Allen has scored his 2nd touchdown of the day. So the Raiders now lead the Bengals 13-0.
And very impressively, too. They have moved people around at the line of scrimmage. They're moving an awful good defense. When you take that Cincinnati front 7 or 8, move them off the line of scrimmage, give Marcus Allen a chance to go in that easily, you've done some work.
Now the point after attempt by Chris Barr in his 8th season out of Penn State. So the Raiders with another long drive. Cincinnati Bengals have had very little opportunity to work with the football. And with 6 minutes gone by in the 2nd quarter, it's Los Angeles 14 and Cincinnati nothing. Well, the Los Angeles scoring drive, 6 minutes 48 seconds as compared to 7.5 minutes with the football, leading to the score in the 1st quarter. And here's Chris Barr kicking to Stanley Wilson and Rodney Tate. This is Tate, and he'll stay there. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line, and Cincinnati with a rare opportunity to do something in possession. All right, we'll be right back. I know Paul Brown is not hiding behind the post. He would not give himself a bad seat.
There he is.
Hall of Famer, master builder of pro football franchises, Paul Brown, Vice President, General Manager, Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals take over, first down at their 20.
About time to see Collinsworth.
Charles Alexander, 3-yard advance. And it will set a second down and 7. Well, this Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Join us for a prime-time baseball special. Billy Martin's New York Yankees visiting the hard-slugging Brewers of Milwaukee, or in some areas you'll see the California Angels take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Now through the League Championship Series, the best in baseball here on NBC. Second down and 7. Isaac Curtis, his first reception on the day, but a penalty marker down. Ted Watts making the stop. We'll check out the flag, and as we do, let's check in with our studios in New York. Upside penalty declined by the Bengals, so the 12-yard pass play holds up. Cincinnati first and 10 at the 35-yard line.
And that 73-yard pass play up there for New England, the starring. Warfield said that's the best talent at wide receiver coming in the game, and I've got to believe him.
Anderson fumbles. And the Raiders indicate that they have recovered, and they have. Anderson on the run was jarred, and the fumble recovered by the Los Angeles Raiders. Now Alzado on the recovery.
This is not like Kenny Anderson. If there's one thing Kenny Anderson rarely does, it's make mental mistakes. To let that ball get away, force a turnover, that's not the way he goes.
And to recover the fumble, Lyle Alzado, who comes off a quality season, John, after many thought he was through after his stint with the Browns.
All you have to do is follow Lyle around and you'll find some action.
Would you explain that?
On the field of play.
Plunkett going sideline, a Cliff Branch for the first down. Branch submarine by the right quarterback Ken Riley, a 15-yard pass play. So the Raiders taking possession after the fumble recovery by Alzado, then able to combine on the pass, but again a flag.
Right, and I don't see the Raiders moving up the field, so it must be on them.
Saw the right tackle, Henry Lawrence, ushered aside as Ben Bright said, well, I have to indicate what the penalty is all about.
And even though there was a penalty, you can see the fine pattern that was run by Branch, who many say has lost most of his speed and will have to depend on his movement. He's got good movement.
Illegal shot block, number 70.
And it was Henry Lawrence in his 10th season, Florida A&M, starting right tackle. And a look at the penalty story to this point. Started in very quick fashion, but it has not been a heavy penalty ball game so far. First and 25. Kenny King. Look out.
There may be one there.
LeClaire and Kemp combining to make the tackle on King, and then some sideline extracurricular action.
Well, that's usually when it happens, is when somebody's beating you at home. It's 14-0. The Raiders have had it all their way. Take a look at them. I mean, bodies are being thrown around out there. Number 49 Guy Frazier is one of them too.
Defense, unnecessary roughness, number 55, that's a first down.
It's Jim LeClaire, the left side linebacker, called for the roughness. And so the Raiders now have a first down at at the Cincinnati 37-yard line. They lead it 14-0. Allen and King in the backfield. Here's Branch. And Cliff Branch works his way to first down territory.
Rick Rosano, who is a very active sort also. Branch thought got to him a little bit late.
Well, as I said a moment ago, it had been quiet.
It had been, but you know when these two teams get together, it's not going to stay that way. This is a very well-designed play. Simple little hitch pass. When they give it to you, take it. Crooked has done that on 2 occasions to keep drives alive. I didn't think Branch was that aggressive.
It'll be a first down at the 26 off the 11-yard pickup by Branch. Jim Plunkett is now 8 for 10, 91 yards. So he has bounced back in this first half after the full preseason. And Plunkett on the run. Picked down at the 20 by Eddie Edwards, the left defensive end.
As I said, there goes Plunk for another ugly-looking 6-yard gain. That puts such a burden on your linebackers, too. It doesn't matter how you get there. When you know a quarterback can move and can move effectively and pick up needed yardage in critical situations, you just can't play your position the way you'd like.
Second down and 4, 6-yard pickup for Plunkett. We're told Mickey Marvin has a sprained left tendon, so Steve Sylvester remains at right guard. Tim Crumley stopping Kenny King. You know, the Raiders said going into this game that they're not alarmed. But during the 1-3 preseason in 8 quarters of football, the first-string offense was outscored 67-20. This along with all the difficulties that Plunkett had.
They're catching up quick, huh? We noticed Green Bay's going back out in front of Houston 14-10.
Well, this has certainly not been the case in the first half. The Bengal defense having difficulty getting the ball back. Third down and 4 at the 20. Todd Christensen could not hang on. He took a hit from Ray Horton. The extra defensive back, number 20, there's Horton, a rookie out of the University of Washington.
And Todd Christensen prides himself in making those plays, and that was not a hard ball to catch.
Right here, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. Marv Albert, John Brody, Cincinnati, Ohio. Field goal attempt by Chris Barr. And Chris Barr puts it through. So the Los Angeles Raiders now lead the Cincinnati Bengals off the 38-yard field goal by Barr, 17-0. 38-yard field goal by Chris Barr to extend that Raider lead to 17-0 with 4:56 remaining in the first half. And now the kickoff by Barr, another good one. This is Rodney Tate, and again, no return.
You know, Barr isn't known for those balls he's been kicking in the end zone. Those are 2 of the longest I've seen him kick off.
We had the good return earlier by Stanley Wilson, but the last 2 have gone for touchbacks. So Cincinnati, first down at their 20-yard line. We mentioned at the top the Bengals, who went through the 0-4 preseason, facing all kinds of problems. They lost key starters. Pete Johnson and Ross Brown are both suspended for 4 games for drug involvement. Both outstanding receivers, Chris Collingsworth and Dan Ross, headed to the USFL. Has this all contributed to the problems?
Obviously, it didn't help any, but I think more than that, it's the 2 turnovers that Anderson has given away early in the game.
And again, he could not find anyone. The rookie from Rutgers, Bill Patel, on the stop of Ken Anderson. There's Bickell, second-round draft pick, and he had an outstanding preseason.
He's right in the mold of the Raiders. It seems like every time somebody takes a hike, they find another one.
And as we check the scoreboard, keep in mind at halftime, complete rundown. Back at NFL 83, Giants lead the Rams 6-3 second quarter. Now Minnesota over Cleveland in the second by the score of 10-7. Second down, 11. Cincinnati at its 19-yard line. 4:15 left in the first half. Anderson able to avoid the rush and gets it off, but Collingsworth hammered. And they are really popping out there.
They're popping, and I'll tell you the impressive thing also, that's the first ball that we've seen Collingsworth catch. But, you know, more than that, Ted Watts made contact only 2 yards past the line of scrimmage on a crossing pattern. Well, that means your defense is heads up and doing the job.
Only a 3-yard gain. Third down and 8 at the 22. The Bengals have been handcuffed thus far in this first half. 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the half. Raiders 17, Bengals nothing. Alexander, the lone D-back. And again, Anderson hauled down. It's Alzado.
I tell you, you don't very often see anybody that Anthony Munoz is trying to keep off the passer in the passer's face. But Lyle Alzado came up with a fumble, got all pumped up. Now he beats Munoz to the quarterback. Don't get Lyle Alzado's head up or you are really going to have trouble. So ball tough now for Munoz.
And it will be Pat McAnally making his first appearance of the afternoon.
Take a look. Anderson is barely the first one back there. We see number 83, Ted Hendricks, going after his back. And Alzado is on his back almost before he sets up.
And McAnally back at his goal line. He's looking to turn from last year, average only 38 yards per punt as opposed to 1981 when he was up at 45 yards per punt, leading the NFL. Bothered by a knee last year. Had a good preseason. This is Pruitt. Good coverage by the Bengals as Pruitt was tackled by Jeff Shue, the backup linebacker. So the Raiders will take over. Following the Raiders of the Bengals, second part of the NFL doubleheader here on NBC. It'll be either Seattle and Kansas City or the New York Jets and the San Diego Chargers.
And the Seattle Seahawks are a much improved team. I had a chance to see them last week. And Chuck Knox has put himself together a group that will contend out there in the AFC West.
Led by the rookie out of Penn State, Kurt Warner, going up against his former teammate, Todd Blackledge.
That's right.
Quarterback at Kansas City. 48-yard punt by McAnally. And the handoff for King. He was able to take the bump on the initial hit. Kenny King, in his 5th season out of Oklahoma, getting to the 49. Tim Crumry and Robert Jackson on the stop, but King picked up 5. Second down and 5 coming up.
Glenn Collins, a young player, a second-year player out of Mississippi State. He made the play, got good pursuit, but didn't get his hands around, and I think King was amazed to still be on his feet.
Allen and King line up in the I. And this is Marcus Allen. So the Bengals continue to contain Allen.
Well, they may. They contain Allen, but they're not containing the Raiders. And the Raiders have scored the 3 times they've had their hands on the ball. 2 touchdowns and a field goal. They've kept the ball from the Cincinnati offense. And when you do that, you're going to be ahead on the scoreboard. This is a critical down. 3rd down and 4. They've got to stop the drive and get the ball back into Anderson's hands because the offense has shown they can do nothing so far. They need another shot.
The 2-minute warning has been provided with the Raiders leading 17-0. Back at Riverfront in Cincinnati on an 87-degree day with no breeze at all. It is awfully hot on the field, John.
I would like to be in that Bengal mascot. But...
3rd down and 4 at midfield for the Raiders. And Plunkett throwing long. Intended for Malcolm Barnwell. Covered by Lewis Breeden.
That was a good defensive play, particularly by the defensive line. It's the first time they've really forced Plunkett to throw the ball before he wanted to, and Breeden had no problem breaking it up.
So Mike Martin, the rookie out of Illinois, drops back deep, back to his 10-yard line, and Ray Guy with his first punt of the day. Someone said Ray may have to apply to the FCC if his punts get any higher. Although he had back problems last year, and his punting average did drop down, but looks to be right back in form. Final preseason game, he averaged 51 yards a punt.
He's still the premier punter in the game.
Flag thrown as it carries in, but a penalty marker down. So it's a 50-yard punt by Guy. But let's see what the flag involves.
Ray was a little disenchanted with the bounce, because any kind of a bounce at all that goes out inside the 5 took a goofy bounce right in the end zone.
And it's against Cincinnati.
Oh my. You talk about penalties at the wrong time if you're a Cincinnati fan. That one gives him a first.
Forrest Gregg is not pleased. Remember last year, the
Receiving team holding before the kick. That's a first down.
If the ball had been in the air when the hold took place, it would have been after on the receiving team. They'd have had the ball. But this one was, they were holding the wide guys, keeping them from getting down the field before the ball actually was kicked. So it's a first down for the Raiders, and they are having it all their way.
big break for the Raiders. Started to say last year the Raiders were once again the most penalized team in the entire NFL, capturing that dubious distinction by nearly 200 yards. But the Bengals hard hit thus far today. Plunkett again throwing long for Grant, and Breeden nearly picked it off.
You know, you talk, Marv, about the Raiders being a much penalized team. I get the feeling that doesn't really matter much. You know, we try to put things to statistics after they happen. As we see Branch going down the field, Breeden had an excellent chance to pick it off, just didn't get quite high enough on it. And I just don't think that whether a team's penalized a lot or not, it seems to matter much.
It can be when the penalties.
It's when, it's not how much.
And the Raiders do get themselves involved in many brawl-like affairs, so the figures grow after things are important.
That's right, but right there, that little 5-yarder was a big penalty.
And it's a second down. 2nd and 10 at the 45. Stop. Jim LeClaire, number 55, inside linebacker on the left, stopping Greg Pruitt.
That's right, and a very good defensive play also by number 49 Guy Frazier, who strung out the play. When your linebacker keeps it back from turning up and finding a hole, you can generally get pretty good pursuit.
And you see the clock running down. That's time remaining. First half. Raiders 17, Bengals nothing. 2 one-yard plunges by Marcus Allen after long drives by the Raiders, and a 38-yard field goal by Chris Vaughn. 3rd down and 10 at the Cincinnati 45. Again, the deep toss intended for Malcolm Barnwell. Free safety Robert Jackson providing coverage. There's Jackson in his 3rd season out of Central Michigan.
Starting to get a good pass rush, Cincinnati is, and that makes it an awful lot easier to play defense.
And again, we'll see Ray Guy. Guy back at his 40. And again, the rookie, Mike Martin, awaiting the punt. There's Martin, 8th-round draft pick. He was Tony Eason's favorite receiver at Illinois.
And he caught a lot of balls.
Oh, nice hang time. But to the end zone, and they'll bring it out. Cincinnati will take it out of spot that they have become accustomed to in this first half. Their own 40.
You got that right.
45-yard punt by Guy. Only 35 seconds left in this first half. Preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. 35 seconds left in this first half. Cincinnati, first and 10, on their 20. Penalty marker down, and again, Anderson goes down. It's whistled dead. Howie Long, the left defensive end, leading the assault. All the highlights and scores upcoming at halftime with NFL 83 back at our New York studios.
Geez, I'll tell you, Marv, you see a guy that you haven't seen before play defense for the Raiders, and you take a look at Greg Townsend. Now, he is a carbon copy of Lyle Alzado when he's rushing the passer. Now, you have bookends like that on your defense, you're going to put some pressure on him.
77.
Charlie Sumner, who is a coordinator of their defensive unit, said, watch number 93 tomorrow. I think he's going to be something special. That's the first time I've had a chance to get a good look at him, and he was.
That's Greg Townsend, a rookie from Texas Christian. Offside called on Alzado. First down and 5 at the 25. 30 seconds left. Here's Alexander. Very little. Howie Long is there. And the crowd beginning to get testy.
Well, they're trying to get some of the heat off. All those defensive linemen are in their sprinters blocks. And, I mean, they've got their heads back, and they are coming.
And remember the Bengals, who were 0-4 in preseason, first time in 16 years that Cincinnati did not win a game in the exhibition season. Bengals lost their final preseason game in Detroit by the score 34-7, and Cincinnati players said it was just embarrassing. But same thing happening here this afternoon in the first half.
He said, you know, we really haven't played well, and Forrest Gregg mentioned, he said, you know, against the Jets, we really tried to play a little bit better, and we prepared a little more, and he said, we still didn't really play well. He said, but we played a little better. He said, the mesh problem we're having right now, we've got 6 fellas starting that haven't played a lot of football. Now, 6 out of 22 is a lot of changes to make, and he said, we've got 10 rookies. We didn't expect to have 10 rookies. We expected to have about 4, but he says the changes that have happened on this football team since our last game last year, I don't think anyone could have predicted, and he said, that's what makes it hard for me to predict how we'll play today, and so far, I know he's not pleased.
The last 2 years, Bengals have the best record in the NFL, a composite of 19-6. Went to the Super Bowl 2 years back. Last season, lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Jets. This after going 7-2 in the strike-shortened season. Second down and 3, back at the 27, with 22 seconds left in the half. Picks up the first down, and we're down to 16 seconds remaining.
All right, Ken, now we'll have a go at it. He's got it to where if he does get the ball picked off, the Raiders still are not in a position to kick a field goal, make an easy 3 points. And he's got time to get the ball 30 yards downfield in 16 seconds with 2 pass completions. They've still got the timeout. He's got to try to get Collinsworth. Collinsworth has been totally ineffective in the first half. He hasn't been able to free himself of either Lester Hayes or Ted Watts. Those guys have just shut him down.
Collinsworth to the left, and Kreider is to the right. Looking for Kreider, changed his mind. That intended for the safety valve. Charles Alexander.
He's going to a safety valve because he can't get to his deep receivers. I mean, the Raider cornerbacks are really doing a job on the wide receivers for Cincinnati. Collinsworth didn't get off the line of scrimmage until the ball was actually out of Anderson's hand.
Lester Hayes was all over Steve Kreider.
And those are the only 2 wide guys they had.
So 10 seconds remaining. There's Lester Hayes. 13 interceptions back in 1980, leading the NFL. Tailed off the last couple of years, but still made the Pro Bowl last season. And Anderson over the middle. Intended for David Verser. Mercer, a three-year man out of Kansas, looking to eventually replace Isaac Curtis. First time that Anderson has thrown his way today.
Right, you can see this is a prevent defense, a classic 4 men short, 3 men deep. Pursue after somebody gets in there. Don't let them get behind you. Any sort of completion would not have been sufficient to put him in a field goal position, because it would have taken him at least 10 seconds to get 35 yards down the field.
Now 5 seconds remaining in this first half. It has been all Los Angeles.
Lester Hayes is 60 yards down the field.
Anderson dumping to Alexander. Time has run out in this first half. So Charles Alexander on the reception, and the Cincinnati Bengals are hearing it from this capacity crowd as they head back to their locker room. The Los Angeles Raiders on 2 one-yard touchdown by Marcus Allen and a 38-yard field goal by Chris Barr with a commanding lead at halftime. It's the Raiders 17 and the Bengals nothing. George Minkle, easy target. You knew this was going to get on camera.
The home of Larry Bird.
Terre Haute, Indiana. And they'll be giving John Brody a day in Terre Haute, I guess, next week. Ken Anderson, who had a very rugged first half. Here's where stats don't mean a thing. He was 8 for 12, 70 yards. Forget it.
He's going to be 12 for 12 if things go right, but it's his job to get the ball down the field, and he was the reason they gave it away twice. Very unlike Ken Anderson. I expect with only 8 minutes and 50 seconds of possession, he doesn't really know what he can do to exploit the Raider defense, but he's going to have to fire something up there and hope some sticks.
Get the idea the Raiders brought the ball and said you can't play with it. 21 minutes of possession in the first half, and they lead it 17-0.
And that is not like the Raider offense. Remember, the Raiders are known for their fast scoring and long touchdown bombs. Kurt Schoner, who remember 2 years ago, he came in when Anderson was having a day very similar to this, rallied them for an opening day victory from 21 points down, and really got Anderson started on his finest year.
So Chris Barr will kick off for the Raiders. Rodney Tate and Stanley Wilson are the deep men. And Barr has been fooling them on kickoff. Again into the end zone. This is Tate. Out to the 15. Rodney Tate in his second season out of Texas. So the Bengals now, first down at the 16-yard line. It'll be Tate and Alexander at the running backs. Up front, Cincinnati with Anthony Munoz, Dave Lapham, Dave Remington, the rookie from Nebraska, Max Mantoya, Mike Wilson. There's the Cincinnati backfield. And the receivers, Chris Collingsworth, Isaac Curtis, Dan Ross. Now N.L. Harris has come on. So Forrest Gregg doing some shuffling. And an official timeout.
Raiders, first timeout.
No, apparently Raiders called it.
Well, they got a little mixed up because when they got up, everybody got up to the line of scrimmage. They only had 10 men, didn't have a defense, and it's pretty tough to hold the group if you don't have a defense.
Yes. And now we're set following that Raider timeout in this opening minute, third quarter. Cincinnati first down at their 16-yard line. Now the long deep back is Klaus Alexander. Alexander running out of the 23, forced out by James Davis. This 1983 National Football League game is being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. By Southern Pacific, 41,000 people working in 18 industries all across America. And by the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be. Second down and 3. Alexander trying to get outside, and a flag thrown. Hendricks cutting him off along with the secondary. And a hold assessed on Cincinnati.
That puts them back in a tough hole because, first of all, the defensive backs for the Raiders are beating Isaac Curtis, Chris Collinsworth, and sometimes Verser when he comes in there. But the receivers have not been open. Anderson has been forced to go to his fullbacks. If they don't get open with 14, 15 yards to go.
Offense, number 89.
There's no way they can get it.
It's the tight end. There he is, Dan Ross. Pro Bowler last year for first time.
He's been open a few times, but he's the only man who has. Lester Hayes has had them all in his hip pocket.
And we have not heard the name Collinsworth or Curtis. Second and 13. Back at the 13-yard line. The penalty on the Bengals. It cost them 59 yards. Raiders hit for 4. And again a flag. Oh, a hard hit. And the ball was jarred loose as Chris Collinsworth was hammered by James Davis.
This penalty was before the snap of the ball. The encroachment could not get back because it's just...
Defense, offside, number 77.
So it's Lyle Alzado, who had an outstanding first half. And that's the update on the penalty picture. So they've both been hit for 5. But the Bengal penalties have been more costly. Second down and 8. Cincinnati at its 18-yard line. We are just underway. Third quarter. Raiders 17, Bengals nothing. Isaac Curtis, but short of the first down. Lester Hayes right there.
You can see that play was good for 6 yards, but Curtis had to make a great catch and a perfect throw, and they still only get 5 or 6. That means the defense is shutting you down.
And now Ken Anderson and Cincinnati facing a third down and 2 at the Cincinnati 24.
Still, they've got the pass rushers in for the Raiders. Greg Townsend.
Curtis, Pryor, Collinsworth, and Ross are the receivers. Almost snatched.
Teddy Hendricks has picked off a lot of them, but that would have been his closest reception of all time. He wasn't 2 feet from where Anderson threw the ball and almost kept it.
That was true Mad Stork fashion by the 6'7", 235-pounder. That's an outstanding record, 200 straight. You know, you see all these consecutive game streaks for a linebacker to make it through 200 in a row.
I can see a center or a tackle offensively doing it. Maybe a holder or a kicker.
High snap for McAnally and a short boot. Nice catch on the sideline by Glenn Cameron, the Cincinnati linebacker. And again, yes, a flag.
And I think it's going Cincinnati's way for a change. And if that's true, they'll have a first down.
Would you believe 22-yard punt by McAnally?
Yeah, I saw it. It didn't look very pretty either. But I tell you what's critical is the Raiders just made a big mistake. When they're getting the ball back 17-0, all of a sudden they give Cincinnati new life. They commit a foul on 4th down and 3, gives them a first down, keeps their drive alive, and them still in the game.
Tom Flores named Coach of the Year last season. Raiders with the AFC's best record at 8-1. Turning it around from 1981.
holding number 54 on the receiving team after the kick.
Oh, well, after the kick means the Raiders keep possession.
Well, the ups and downs of this play. Turn it back the other way. Number 54 is Darrell Bird, a backup linebacker. And here's Jim Plunkett making his way back on. All right, a timeout has been called. Raiders lead it 17-0. Starting right guard, Mickey Marvin. He's out for the day with a sprained tendon in the left ankle.
They better get Mosbar ready in a hurry.
Raiders #1 draft pick, Don Mosbar of Southern California. Marcus Allen to midfield. Pickup of 6. It'll be a 2nd down and 4. Reggie Williams, outside linebacker, was right there.
Take a look at Marcus Allen. I tell you, when he adds this dimension to the Raider offense, he's got all the linebackers down the field about 12 to 15 yards in depth because they know their receivers like to go deep. So he just picks up the gimmies, usually keeps drives alive.
2nd down and 4 at the 50. Raiders 17, Bengals nothing. We're early, 3rd quarter. Allen driving for a 1st down. Getting back to Mosbar, he was the Raiders' #1 draft pick and kept a back operation a secret before draft day. The latest on Mosbar, he has been working out and will be eligible to play in 2 weeks. Now, explaining the situation, Mosbar's agent said no one asked.
That's right. What do? You don't run around and show him your hole card, do you? It's like it would have hurt his position greatly, and it was up to the Raiders to find out. And he's also an excellent player, and that operation is going to be fine. So he'll be a big addition to the Raider line.
3rd down and 2. And here's Allen. Knifing toward the 1st down marker. Marcus Allen, who is running much better than he did a year ago. Of course, all he would have to do is show up. He was shut out. 8 carries, Zippo yardage last season against the Bengals here in the Cincinnati victory last November.
Well, they're not shutting him out now. He may not be running the ball on the ground the way he would like to or up to his average, but they're doing what they want secondarily. Plunkett's throwing the ball in the areas he likes. Their drives have been very long, churning up a lot of yardage, and they're in total control of the game.
Why is it that the Raiders had an opportunity with 10th pick to draft Marcus Allen? How did he get by 9 floats?
The same old game, you know, you play tailback for SC, and nobody thinks the tailback's as good as the lineman. They have a lot of first draft choice linemen. This guy is just something special.
All right, Plunkett on play action. And it's picked off by Breeden. Lewis Breeden.
Look out.
Lewis Breeden to the 35-yard line. Frank Hawkins on the stop. 35-yard run on the interception.
And Cliff Branch did not get open. Plunkett overthrew the ball. He never had a chance. It was a ball that Plunkett should not have thrown. Lewis Breeden makes his first good defensive play of the game, changes the momentum around, and it looks like Cincinnati's back in.
Crowd has come alive for the first time this afternoon off the interception by Lewis Breeden. And Cincinnati 1st down at the Raider 35-yard line. A reverse. Look out. And Ross on the reception, submarine by Lester Hayes. So Forrest Gregg going to the trick playbook.
Yeah, the trick playbook is it's a lot of handoffs. The execution ought to pick you up 6 yards alone, even if you don't throw the pass. Isaac Curtis back to Anderson. He's got Ross wide open. Good recovery by Lester Hayes. Keeps it down to a 1st down.
Oh, well, excitement here being generated by the Bengals. 1st down at the 24. Rodney Tate. And Suddenly you get the feeling that Ken Anderson is heating up. Van McElroy covering Tate on the play.
Well, he was looking to go down the field to Collinsworth. He couldn't find him open, and he came off to his secondary receiver. We have not seen the wide receivers in the act today.
Pickup of 6, second down and 4. At the 18, Bengals trailing 17-0. Collinsworth goes left, and Curtis White, Alexander, and Tate in the backfield. This is Alexander. He saw Hendricks as he tried to make the turn and then was rammed by the strong safety, Mike Davis. No gain on the play. Third down and 4 at the 18.
The Raider defense used to be a very active one that made things happen, but they've become also a very physical one. The two additions, Townsend particularly, and Piquel are big, strong, active players.
And as you say, fit right into the personality of Raider defensive play. Anderson dumping it off, incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Ross, covered by Hendricks.
Hey, if he had caught the ball, he probably would have picked up the first down. The yardage is coming very difficult for Cincinnati. Let's take a look at number 89, Dan Ross. He's being well guarded. That ball had to be thrown out in front of him because the pursuer was right behind. Couldn't hang on. They'll have to settle for a field goal try.
And this is Jim Breach, one-time Oakland Raider. He is the NFL's chip shot champion. Been hitting everything under 40, but not consistent from long range.
But not bad. I mean, 57% outside 40 yards is pretty good.
Here's a 35-yard attempt. Kreider awaits the snap. And the kick by Breach is good. 35-yard field goal. And the Bengals hit the board. For early third quarter, it's the Raiders 17 and the Bengals 3. John Elway as Jim Breach gets set to kick off. Greg Pruitt and Clay Montgomery are back. And this is Pruitt out to the 15. And hammered down inside the 20-yard line. Cincinnati Bengals putting 3 on the board a moment ago on the field goal by Jim Breach. And Kreider had trouble.
Look at Kreider. That shows you good having your attention in the right spot. Had Breach started a little bit early, he would not have been able to recover and kick the 3. He waited till the ball got on the ground before he made his move. As a result, put 3 in.
As we check the scoreboard, you saw Miami leading Buffalo, Minnesota in front of Cleveland. 17-14 in the third. And this crowd has come to life since that interception by Lewis Breach, which led to the field goal. Plunkett first and 10. Dumps it off. This is King with running room. Kenny King out to the 35. Good second effort by King. Stopped by Jerry Boyarski, the nose tackle. 16 yards.
Hey, you know, I think that's what's amazed me over the years is we see Reggie Williams coming into Plunkett, putting a little pressure on him, but he actually got it from the other side on a safety blitz. But the way Plunkett gets rid of the ball when he's about to get tackled, he may throw one with his legs someday because he does get it there, but it gets there in the weirdest fashion.
First down for Plunkett and the Raiders at their 36. Sideline move by Barnwell. Covered by Breach. And the official may have said that Barnwell was out of bounds.
I think the official was right also. He goes up in the air, he comes down with 1 foot and does not ever touch the other side, the right foot in.
In the NFL, you must have the 2 feet in. And so it is incomplete.
And if you'll see, his right foot never came down. His left foot came down easy. Looked like his right foot he could not get control of. As a result, he hit Breeden's leg with it. No completion.
And in front of the Raider bench, not a friendly place to make that kind of call. Here's Plunkett with the bomb.
Raiders' offensive line's doing a good job. They're even keeping them off Plunkett when they're blitzing. That's all you can ask.
And over the years, the left cornerback, Lewis Breeden, has been a big play man. 3 interceptions last year, although fighting off a hamstring injury. Picked one off earlier this third quarter.
Looks like he got embarrassed in the first half. He decided to do something about it.
Third down and 10. Raiders at their own 36. They lead it 17-3. And
that's something you don't want to do away from home, is have a too much time penalty.
Offense, 73.
Charlie Hanna jumped the gun a little. I'd have expected more of that than we've seen. The Raiders' offensive line's been very well disciplined, hasn't made any mistakes. That's the first one of note.
so the procedure call on Hanna. Charlie Hanna, 4-year starter with Tampa Bay, acquired at the start of camp, replacing the injured Kurt Marsh at left guard. It's a third down and 15. Back at the 31. And this crowd is really in it now. Plunkett airing one out for Branch.
Those guys are rejoicing down there, but I tell you, all of them were beaten bad. And if Branch hangs on to the ball, they're back in scoring territory. That was a beautiful throw by Plunkett. Look how badly he beat the whole secondary. He's got to wait a little for it, but Branch is not accustomed to missing those balls.
Riley and Kemp with the desperation lunge. But the Raiders have been held, and Ray Guy will punt back at his 15. Here's Guy. He'll kick away to Mike Martin.
Mike Martin, do you think he respects Ray Guy? He's 55 yards.
And again, the hang time by Guy. And Martin runs it out at the 30. But the tone of this game has turned here in the third quarter. When we return, it'll be Cincinnati in possession. Off the 39-yard punt by Ray Guy, Cincinnati first down at the 30-yard line. Raiders lead at 17-3, but the Bengals showing signs here in the third quarter. Anderson to throw, first down. Chris Collingsworth for the first down. James Davis covering on the play.
He finally caught one of the defensive backs laying off. Little check-off play to Collingsworth. He really hasn't been in the act much today. And when Collingsworth and Isaac Curtis aren't in the act for Cincinnati, they don't score many points.
13-yard advance off the reception. So the first down at the 43. Charles Alexander, the lone deep back. And it's Alexander trying to pull his way. Bud Townsend and Ted Hendricks combine on the stop.
Anthony Munoz had a tough first half. Blocks down on Rod Martin here, and actually looks like a jump center.
Right here, we'll pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is KSEE TV 24 Fresno.
Marv Albert, John Brody from Cincinnati, where the Bengals are trying to battle their way back into it. Here's Anderson with a jump pass intended for Kreider, who did not see it.
I think Lyle Alzado beat him back to the spot.
And a penalty flag down.
He may have started a little early, which aided him a bit.
It's against the Raiders.
The Raiders were in a stunt.
Finn offside, number 53.
It was called on Rod Martin, but you see, Alzado got to Anderson real fast. but the only way a guy from outside can get there is by coming down, playing a game, and coming clean. He did that, and it's not easy on quarterbacks when you let 77 go free.
Second down and 4 for Cincinnati at midfield. 7 minutes left, third quarter. Oh, bullet thrown by Anderson, and it's Collingsworth. Chris Collingsworth. 10-yard pickup.
That was a beautiful execution, but the yardage is really coming tough. We watched Kenny Anderson so often today after the play. He's wiped his hand on the turf. It's so sweaty down there. But look, real good pressure in between two defenders. It's just getting tougher and tougher for them to execute, but they seem to be moving.
Collingsworth's fourth catch, 47 yards. Picks up the first down at the Raider 41. And Al Harris has come on now, joining the Cincinnati receiving corps. And it's Alcedo with the sack again. His second of the afternoon.
Boy, he's alert. Now look, generally you figure he's a real good pursuit artist. That's why they're bootlegging him. He figures that Alcedo will be in pursuit all the way down the side, the right side of the field. Anderson will slide out behind him, put a little bootleg on him, embarrass him. Guess again.
Minnesota leading Cleveland 17-14 in the third. Falcons over the Bears 13-10. And it's Green Bay leading Houston in the third 28-17. Raiders with 3 sacks on the day. Alcedo has 2. Second down and 17. Back at the 48. See what the call is here.
I think it's too much time.
Offense, delay of the game. All right, they took the full 30. So a second and 17 for the Bengals. Cincinnati with Anthony Munoz, Mike Wilson at the tackles, Dave Lapham, Max Montoya at the guards, the center, Dave Remington. Alexander bumped out across the 45 by the right quarterback, James Davis. 8-yard pickup, but it's still third and long.
But he did get it up into the area where one completion in between linebackers can pick him a first down. We haven't seen much of Charles Alexander today, Marv, but he's been playing throughout the afternoon. They haven't had much of the ball, and when they get it down 17-0, they've got to pitch it.
Sport 4 passes. Anderson has not gone to the running game. Alexander has carried only 6 times. Third down and 14 in a mix-up. Saw some confusion, and it cost the Bengals. Anderson had a fall on the ball. Pat McInally will come out to punt. That's a wasted play by Cincinnati.
I could not even see the exchange from center to quarterback. I saw Kenny fall down, but it didn't even look as if the ball was exchanged. But he did. It was not a clean exchange, which often happens between quarterback and center with a new center or a new quarterback. Remington being the new center, they'll have to get that straight.
McInally's punt. He angles it out. With Greg Pruitt back, angled out by McInally, and the Raiders will take over. Well, coming up Saturday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Join us for the WBC Heavyweight Championship. Undefeated Larry Holmes seeking his 15th straight successful title defense, going up against Scott Frank. That'll be a primetime boxing special live from Atlantic City, New Jersey.
I just heard Bertie call. He said thanks.
The fight doctor will be there, Joe. 4 minutes and 44 seconds remaining third quarter. And the Raiders now first down at their 14-yard line. 2 one-yard touchdown scores by Marcus Allen. Field goal by Chris Barr, giving the Raiders a 17-0 lead. And then Jim Breach with 3 here in the third. Allen nowhere to go. Nose tackle Jerry Boyarski making the play.
I'll tell you, they have some good young players. I don't know about the mesh, but I'll tell you, this guy's made some good ones inside, and this is just another one. He gets by the blocker, gets on Marcus Allen, and you can tell by his reaction the difference in the intensity of this ball game from the Cincinnati side.
Loss of 3, second and 13, back at the 11. Here's Allen. Allen on the slant out to the 19. Bobby Kemp, a strong safety, making the stop, setting the Bengals defensively. Edwards, Boyarski, and Collins up front. Linebackers Frazier, LeClaire, Cameron, and Williams. And in the secondary, Riley and Breeden at the corners, and Kemp and Jackson, the beat man.
And against this group, usually 3rd and 5 dictates a throwing down. But with Marcus Allen in your backfield, I don't think so. I'll be very surprised if they put it in the air. I expect them to throw it, give it to Marcus running wide.
And Marcus lined up alongside Kenny King. Well, looks to throw, but it's hauled down.
Didn't throw.
That's true, John. And it was Reggie Williams, the outside linebacker on the right, coming up with the Bengals' first sack of the day. And again, Cincinnati is sparked up.
The whole tone has changed because Cincinnati knows if they can just get a break, they can get back in the ball game. A 14-point lead at home with more than a quarter to play is not that much. But finally, Cincinnati's got some enthusiasm.
So Ray Guy from his end zone. And this is Mike Martin, the rookie from Illinois, awaiting the punt. Martin, midfield, and down immediately. Excellent coverage by the Raiders. Cincinnati will take over at the 50-yard line off a 42-yard punt by Guy. All right, that is coming up next following the Bengals and the Raiders, either Seattle, Kansas City, or the Jets and San Diego.
They didn't waste any time getting those biggies out the first game of the season. The Jets against the Chargers, the Raiders against the Bengals.
Both the Jets and Chargers are hurt physically. Both teams are banged up. So movement on the line. And the tight end, Ross, with a short pickup. Stopped by Van McElroy and Mike Davis.
Van McElroy's been doing a very efficient job, Marv. He hasn't been beaten deep, and he has been quick to jump up and tackle those short receivers.
McElroy has taken over at free safety for the retired Burgess Owens. In fact, his only start last season was the game against Cincinnati here in November. Second down and 5. Cincinnati at the Los Angeles 45-yard line. Stanley Wilson now in at running back, but Anderson will throw with time. And a first down. Nice play by Steve Kreider, who came back.
You have it right on the head. Now, I'll tell you, if you take Lester Hayes has been having a ball out there. This is what he's been doing. Remember, he only gets 5 yards in which to hit the receiver. Now, he did not bump him. Kreider actually ran back into Lester Hayes in order to move the pattern, but he did not give himself away. He didn't make a movement for the ball until it actually got there, and that's why Hayes was beaten.
So Kreider, a key player in Cincinnati Super Bowl season back in '81, coming up with a first down, keeping this drive on the move. First down at the Raider 38. A minute 10 left, third quarter. Stanley Wilson. And he was walloped to cough it up.
Ted Hendricks, it just landed in his lap. We talked about what a fine running back Stanley Wilson looks like he will be. This is the sort of thing in his first game he'll have to get rid of. Made a good move to get to the inside, did not take the ball with him. It flopped to the floor and it fell right in Hendricks' lap. Look at that.
John, he's running it with one hand in a crowd. You think he was in the open field.
Yeah, with Ken Hendricks around, he will get it.
And that is a big turnover with the Bengals on the move. A minute left, third quarter. Raiders take over. They lead it 17-3. Take over at their 37. Play action by Plunkett. Oh, rifle pass. And the reception by Malcolm Barnwell. Glenn Cameron, the inside linebacker on the right, providing coverage, but a 17-yard pass play. And the Raiders first down at midfield.
Plunk made a very nice throw there. He threw it in the best place for a receiver to catch the ball in the middle of the field, which is down low. You don't take the severe licks you do when they're down low.
And Plunkett looks it over. He has Barnwell and Branch to the left. Looking that way. Incomplete. Intended for Malcolm Barnwell. Ricky Williams covered. And we have 13 seconds left in this third quarter. The Raiders offensive line with Bruce Davis and Henry Lawrence at the tackles. Charlie Hattis, Steve Sylvester for the injured Mickey Marvin at the guards, and Dave Galby in his 158th straight game. At center, only the second starting center in the history of the Raiders. Following,
Jim Otto played so long we didn't know if he'd ever quit.
Another good pass from Plunkett. And again, it's Barnwell. Time running down. We're down to 5 seconds left. Third quarter. Guy Frazier with the tackle on Barnwell and just short of a first down.
Well-thrown balls. Those are two very well-thrown balls. Plunk has the kind of arm that can go from sideline to sideline, and that extends that defensive secondary quite a bit.
In the first half, he threw some ducks up there. It's as if he's straightened things out here in the second half.
He throws a variety of birds every week, but I tell you what he does, he gets the ball to the intended receiver. He does the things you need to do to win. He's a great competitor, and he keeps him on the board.
Now goes to the ground, and Allen picks up the first down as the time runs out in this third quarter. So at the end of 3 here at Riverfront, it's the Raiders 17, the Bengals 3. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. This 1983 National Football League game is brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is taking charge. By Bud Light, the best has a taste all its own. And by the easy Beta Betamax from Sony. Simply amazing because it's amazingly simple. Fourth quarter getting underway. Marv Albert, John Brody from a hot and sunny Cincinnati, Ohio. Raiders first down at the Cincinnati 40. And Plunkett, who's been hot, from Marcus Allen. And there's the Marcus Allen that the NFL saw last season, except here in Cincinnati. Let's get to NFL 83, our studios in New York, for an update.
Thank you, Marv Albert. At Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, Frank Kush looking for his first victory. Hagel goes to Bernard Henry, a free agent from Arizona State. His second touchdown. The Colts lead, but the Patriots are threatening. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Len, first down and 10 at the Cincinnati 28 off the 12-yard pickup on the reception by Allen. So the Cincinnati Bengals, who were driving in the third quarter, had a drive cut short by the fumble by the rookie Wilson. This is Barnwell again, his fifth reception. Lewis Breach on the tackle out of the 21. So it'll set a second down and 3 at the 21. Tom Flory staying with the backfield of Marcus Allen and Kenny King. He has been shuffling his receivers. Barnwell departing now. He has Branch to the right. is Derek Ramsey. Here's King. Straight ahead play. Eddie King in his 5th season. Out of Oklahoma, he has found a home with the Raiders after he was dealt by the Houston Oilers.
Raiders are doing exactly what they want. They're possessing the ball. They're taking time off the clock. There's 13 minutes left to play. It looks like they're going to go in, need to score 3 or 7, and really put them out of reach.
Saw another Raider first down. Down at the Cincinnati 17. Now Branch to the left. And the tight end, Christensen, extending to the right. Little mix-up there as Allen tried to follow his blocker and a penalty marker throw. Eddie Edwards involved. Edwards, number 73. First penalty of the 4th quarter. We had several flare-ups earlier, but nothing serious. We mentioned at the start that it could be a street fight, but aside from a couple of incidents, it hasn't been that severe.
No, and Ben Dryth is the one who's to be given the credit. That's why they put him on this game. He'll take charge early, and then there won't be a problem.
Number 70 declined the penalty. It's 2nd down.
Decline. It'll be a 2nd down and 15. 2nd and 15. Back at the 22 off the loss on that last play. Now Barnwell is back in. He is to the right. Plunkett looking that way. And Barnwell had to come back as the pass was underthrown. Again, Lewis Breeden on the coverage. 15. Opening day here in Cincinnati. One game was played yesterday with the Philadelphia Eagles defeating the San Francisco 49ers out in San Francisco. And this is the first part of a doubleheader here on NBC.
And quarterbacks are taking their lumps early. Montana took his yesterday, and Elway's taking his today. And it hadn't been an easy day on Ken Anderson.
Here's the 3rd and 15. Plunkett with a dump off a dangerous pass. He was looking for Hawkins. He tried to hold back, John.
I think he did, but he didn't want to throw it. Where he was trying to go was to Cliff Branch on a little crossing pattern. He saw that was a little too congested, so he tried to bring it back, and it took off. It was another Plunkett beauty, you know. Here comes Cliff right across the field underneath the linebackers, and he actually wasn't looking when Plunkett wanted to throw it to him. And since he wasn't looking, Plunkett tried to pull it back.
And then he saw the running back Hawkins, but the pass off the mark. And a field goal attempt from 40 being attempted by Chris Farr, who earlier connected from 38. And it's good.
He's been on a weightlifting program or something because his leg is stronger than it's ever been.
A 40-yard field goal, and it's now the Raiders 20 and the Bengals 3. And looked to be coming on, but a critical fumble by the rookie Wilson has hurt. Here's the swing. And it's Wilson for the first down. Run out by strong safety Mike Davis.
This is the time where a guy like Anderson knows. You can see him rubbing his hand down on the turf. It's very wet and very humid here, and he's trying to get any sort of grasp that he can. And he doesn't have time to run the ball. 10 minutes and 36 seconds. He's got to fire it all over the ballpark, play the game like he needs 3 scores, and you can bet he'll try.
Now they're working on Isaac Curtis. So Steve Kreider is back. And a first down of the 40. Anderson able to hang in and then hit Dan Ross. Mike Davis, the strong safety, on the stop of the tight end Ross.
That pocket is not very big back there. Just about big enough for one man to stand in. And when you take a look at a pocket, you'd like to have one a little bit bigger than this. Now watch it collapse as he's just about ready to throw. Whoops, there you are. Move around, find a little hole, throw the ball to Dan, and pick up our first down. Or not quite, 2nd and 2. Good play by Kenny.
So the 2nd down and 2 at the 48. And that's Ryder in motion. Let's see if he caught it or scooped it.
Ryder came to his senses a little too late. He caught the ball, fell down, and when nobody tackled him, they blew it dead, and rightly so.
Steve Ryder, 5-year man out of Lehigh, who short-hopped it, so it's incomplete. 88 degrees on the field here at Riverfront. Not the best conditions for football.
And it's really tough on receivers now. Perfect angle of a short hop. Maybe he could play shortstop, too.
Picked it off very nicely, but it's a 3rd down and 2.
Dave Dalby, Steve Sylvester. Right over the right guard.
And it's a 1st down out of the 44-yard line.
All they have to do, just under 7 minutes to play. You get the feeling this is a total domination by the Raiders.
Bengals have their shot in the 3rd quarter. They have the crowd going with them for the first time after they heard the boos in the first half. But a critical fumble by the rookie Wilson.
And it was created, though, by the guy you most expect to have it created by, Ken Hendricks. He put his arm out, grabbed the ball. That was a game changer.
That pass intended for Cliff Branch. Lewis Breeden on the coverage. It was Breeden's interception that appeared to have the Bengals on the move. They did put up 3 off the field goal by Jim Breach, but that was it.
Yeah, that's about all they showed today.
And there is the mad staunch Ted Hendricks.
Just another day at the plant for him.
He seems to get better with age. Made the Pro Bowl last 3 years after an absence of 6. Rick Pruitt nearly got away when Cameron had the rest. John, you have to wonder about the Cincinnati offense. We've dwelled on the poor preseason that they went through, but last year, even in a year of success, the Bengals could not come up with a big play. In fact, 5 of Ken Anderson's touchdowns were from 3 yards or less. The longest run from scrimmage, 21 yards.
That's true, but what they were was a nitpick-type offense that was very effective, and Anderson handled it very well. But I think when their offensive coordinator was fired early, and they didn't have enough time to recoup, I think it's affected them some, and they're going to have to rally and get their group together. And as Forrest Gregg said, they're going to have to start meshing. Now, Bruce Coslett is a fine football mind, and he's taken over for Lindy and Fonte, but how can you do it all right where you left off? And I think that's the problem they face right now.
Looks like Lewis Breeden pulled a muscle in coverage of Malcolm Barnwell.
Well, I'll tell you, cramps and pulled muscles are very commonplace on days like today, but I think that's for certain a pull.
He had a hamstring problem all last year. So Lewis Breeden is headed to the sideline in a conversation with Ken Riley. And here's Ray Guy. 5 minutes, 48 seconds. Remaining 4th quarter. Mike Martin is back awaiting the punt. Again, the hang time, and here's Martin. He has not been able to unleash. He has terrific speed, but again, the good coverage by the Raiders, led by James Davis. A timeout call. We'll be back in a moment. All right, following the Cincinnati Bengals, LA Raiders, it'll be either Seattle, Kansas City, or the Jets And San Diego right here on NBC off the 42-yard punt by Ray Guy. Bengals first down at their 16-yard line. And Anderson able to complete to Mike Martin. So Martin, the rookie out of Illinois, replacing Isaac Curtis, picking up 12 on the play.
You know, Mark, we're sitting here and we're watching Anderson take about all that he's been given, and the Oakland defense has just been sensational all day long. You take a look at Tom Flores. Now, he is one of the most passive, easygoing men that ever lived, but he's a great football coach. He's got a fine mind, and he's got a lot of football ability. But these guys are a different personality than they've been in the past. They used to have all offense. They'd come back in the closing minutes and beat you somehow, right? But now they're a team that's dominated by defense, and I don't think I've ever seen it in Raider history where their defense was a lot better than their offense, and they certainly are now.
Raider defensive play today has been outstanding. Our folks in the truck would like me to point out that you have been fined a heavy figure because you refer to the Raiders as the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, I lost a little money to Enberg last year, too, and who would say it first, but I'm not paying those fellas.
Does Enberg collect? Second down and 10 at the 28. Stanley Wilson could not pull away. Howie Long would not allow it.
Hey, it doesn't matter who they put in there. All of those down linemen are aggressive, are quick, and effective.
Raiders going with combinations of Long, Kinlaw, Alzado, Townsend, Pickell, and Robinson.
Who said they have trouble on synthetic surface? I wouldn't like to be Stanley Wilson. He's looking for a hole, and there just isn't one to be found.
Third down and 13. 4:45 remaining in this fourth quarter. Again, it's Mike Martin. And again, wrestled down. 53, Rod Martin leading the attack.
I'm sure many people will say, well, why doesn't he go down the field with it? Well, the simple reason is he didn't have time. He can't get a receiver 25 yards down the field, and he can't get 4 seconds to throw it.
And again, you have to look back to all the advertised problems coming into this season with the loss. Pete Johnson, Ross Browner, first 4 games suspended because of the drug involvement. Chris Collingsworth, Dan Ross signing the future contracts with the USFL. Here's Greg Pruitt. And a penalty marker down. Now, that is not to take anything at all away from the Raiders, who have been exceptional. But if the Bengals do get off to a poor start, if they have a poor season, that is all they are going to hear.
That's right. They haven't played well. That's simple, and I'm sure that Forrest Gregg would be the first to admit that if they played at this level, they wouldn't be over 500 no matter who their opponents were.
48-yard punt. Larry Kennebrew leading the coverage on Pruitt. And we'll hear the call from Ben Grice.
Illegal block by the receiving team on the run back, number 23.
So the illegal block by Otis McKinney. 3 minutes, 49 seconds remaining fourth quarter, and a timeout has been called. Raiders 20 and the Bengals 3. Impressive stat, because you're talking about teams such as the Montreal Canadiens of the National Hockey League, Boston Celtics, National Basketball Association, and the baseball Baltimore Orioles. That's Kenny King. And Reggie Williams, outside linebacker. There he is, number 57, in his 8th year out of Dartmouth, making the stop. Bengals, who looked lethargic in the first half, then came out in the third quarter, and then were stopped by the Raiders, are trailing badly, 20-3. We have 3:20 remaining in the fourth quarter, and the Raiders in possession, second down and 7, back at their 15. And Tom Flores staying with the combination of Allen and King. Frank Hawkins on the carry. Hawkins gets out to the 17-yard line. And he was met there by Crumry and Cameron. It'll be a 3rd down and 5.
And I'm sure that Tom Flores made a mention of make sure Jim doesn't put that ball up. That's the only way anything bad could happen as far as the Raiders are concerned. Just run off 30 more seconds, punt, slide into the locker room.
Slide. Frank Hawkins and Greg Pruitt in the backfield. This is Pruitt. So Pruitt with a stutter step and a head fake. And picks up short yardage. Crumry and Riley making the stop. That is coming up following the Bengals and the Raiders. Kurt Warner and his Seattle Seahawks, Kansas City Chiefs, or the Jets and the Chargers. And here's Riley limping off.
Well, the problem is now you see Cincinnati, who was playing a very lethargic game, has got both of its cornermen down, and it looks as if for either one of them to be able to play next week, they're going to have a miraculous recovery, because Lewis Breeden having a hamstring problem is not going to lend itself to letting him play very quick. Ken Riley looks like he's limping severely, and without your quarterbacks, this game gets awfully tough.
And Archie Griffin is out with a pulled groin muscle. Defensive back Brian Hicks sitting out with a shoulder injury. Cincinnati Bengals home next week for the Buffalo Bills, while the Raiders will be home for the Houston Oilers. 2 minutes, 9 seconds remaining. Raiders led it 17-0 at halftime. 2 short touchdowns by Marcus Allen. Back at his 5-yard line. And it was deflected. That punt deflected. Good rush by the Bengals. And the ball will be spotted at the 40-yard line. Now, again this year, at the 2-minute warning, we are going to be treated to some of the most exciting finales from NFL history. They're called fantastic finishes. Here's one of them. See in the background, many of the folks making their way toward the exit.
I can understand that.
Yes. From the Cincinnati point of view, has not been a thriller.
No, but from an Oakland point of view, they have shown people that they are back where they left off.
More fine money again, he says, Oakland.
Oh, my. Los Angeles Raiders.
Ray Guy off the deflection will have his punt average affected, a 20-yard punt. Here's Anderson. Off the swing, Stanley Wilson. Able to elude the tackle and gets near the first down marker. So, minute 52 remaining. Raiders with the comfortable 20-3 lead. Executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman. The coordinating producer of football, Ted Nathanson. And today's telecast produced by George Ringo. Directed by Ted Nathanson. Second down and 2. Anderson avoiding the rush and slingshots it to Collingsworth. So the first down, Chris Collingsworth on the reception and stopped by Ted Watts. I'd like to thank our spotters, Mike Leonard, Bill Schwarberg, our statistician, John Murdoch. First down for Anderson. And again, Collingsworth. Inside the 15.
I think Chris is going to have a day where it looks like he's had quite a day, about 6 or 7 or 8 receptions. But he's a game breaker, and he has never been in a position for Kenny to hit him deep and keep a drive alive. And it hasn't been a good day. It's been all the secondary of the Raiders. The one bright spot for the Bengals is number 32, Stan Wilson. I think they found themselves a running back they can be proud of.
Collingsworth with 4 receptions, but only 35 yards. And Anderson's stats will look impressive. National Football League rules require that we present away games starting with the opening kickoff to stations in the team's home area. So viewers in some areas will be leaving this game in a few minutes, particularly in the city of Seattle. They'll be leaving for a telecast involving your home team. However, we'll continue to bring you reports on this game to keep you up to date. Kenny Anderson's stats in tomorrow's newspapers will look very impressive, but he had a day he would like to forget about.
You're not kidding. And I think he will forget about it.
Yes. There they are, 24 for 33, 217 yards. But nothing.
Never crossed the line.
Nope. One field goal, that's been it. And just a couple sustained drives. Second down and 1. And it's Stanley Wilson, the rookie from Oklahoma. He goes 5'10", 209. Picking up the first down. Archie Reese, the middle guard. And Bill Piquel combining on the stop. And at 5, remaining in the game. First and goal. Here's Anderson. Touchdown. M.L. Harris with the touchdown. 9-yard pass play, and so the Bengals put one up. Kind of a sheepish congratulations.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where I don't think anybody's too happy about the afternoon if you're from Cincinnati.
M.L. Harris, who played 4 years in the Canadian Football League, in fact played for Forrest Gregg at Toronto in his 4th season of the NFL out of Kansas State. And now the point after attempt by Breach. So the Los Angeles Raiders now lead the Cincinnati Bengals by the score of 20-10. Let's go to our studios in New York for an update. Thank you, Len. Marv Albert, John Brody from Riverfront in Cincinnati. Cincinnati Bengals finally putting up 7. M.L. Harris on a 9-yard pass play from Ken Anderson. And we now have 1 minute remaining in this 4th quarter as Jim Breach gets set for the onside.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about where he'll kick it.
And it appears the Raiders have recovered. So the Raiders all over the football. Let's get back to NFL 83. All right.
This is going to be a pretty quick minute, Marv, and
it'll be a first down at the 48-yard line. Here's Lyle Alzado, who has had a terrific day. 2 sacks and a fumble recovery. It will be a very happy flight back to the West Coast.
and I know he's particularly excited because when you play against an Anthony Munoz, you know you have to take your lumps. You don't expect to have a big day. He's had a big day, and it's
Thank you for joining us for another edition of Raider Reaction Silver and Black Theater on Black Friday.
Remaining.
We appreciate you as always
Bengals just want to get out of here.
for joining us.
And now I'm told we are set to get back to NFL 83 in New York for another update. All right, Len, here are the Raiders moving to the line. Second down and 12 at the 50. 2 touchdowns by Marcus Allen, taking it in from 1 on 2 occasions. And the field goal kicking of Chris Barr, providing the scoring for the Raiders. While for the Bengals, Jim Breach from 35. And a late touchdown meaningless scores. It turns out Anderson to ML Harris on a 9-yard play. And the clock is just running down. We're down to 35 seconds remaining.
And I think this might be one of the most dominating 10-point differences I've ever seen in a game. You know, a 20-10 doesn't tell you the story of this game. Buck has had a good day. The offensive line has run the game from at the line of scrimmage. Their defensive line controlled it when they were on the field, and they just won in every phase of the game.
And a solid game by the running backs, Marcus Allen, Kenny King. Nothing spectacular, did the job, and the job has been done. With the clock running down, that is it. Here at Riverfront, Tom Quarries opening up the
We're out.
1983
Peace,
season
love.
with a victory.
Raider Nation.
Marv Albert